Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Natural View. I am Maggie, and I'm here with my co-host, Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hey Maggie, doing well. Good to be here.
Great to have you. And we have a special guest today. It is my pleasure to introduce Karen Slusher. She is the Chief Experience Officer at Azure Standard, where she leads customer experience and employee experience that covers sales, service, and HR. She really works on building strong relationships, creating meaningful customer and employee experiences, and just building the company's values through service and transparency and thoughtful growth. So we're excited to learn more about all of that today. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
All right, so I want to ask for people who aren't familiar with the company, can you share a little bit of the backstory and what has guided your growth over the years?
Sure. Azure Standard, a lot of people just call us Azure, but Azure Standard is the full name of the company. Began as a family-owned company, really with a vision to make high quality, natural and organic products accessible, really to everyday families and everyone in the United States. We believe that everyone should have access to good, clean, quality food. So it's been nearly 4 decades. It'll be 40 years at the end of this year that Azure has really worked to stay grounded in our core beliefs. We believe that food matters, transparency matters. We believe that people shouldn't have to work so hard to understand what they're buying for their homes or their children's or for what they're putting in their stores for their customers. And we really just believe that business can be deep and relational. Um, our growth has been guided by a commitment to clean products, uh, responsible sourcing. Um, we really believe in providing value and service in what we do. So we've remained family owned. We're independent. We are actually the largest remaining independent and family owned distributor in the country. There's a lot of other smaller or regional distributors, and we love to work with them as partners because we believe we should all work together to keep a free and open food supply. And so being family owned matters to us because it allows us to make decisions through the lens of long-term relationships, and it really helps us steward those relationships rather than look at only short-term results. So we've expanded nationally through the last 40 years. We are in every state, including U.S. territories like Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, and we deliver to ports for Alaska and Hawaii. Um, and really, our mission remains what it has been since the very beginning. I always like to say when I joined Azure 10 and a half years ago, our CEO said, Karen, help me grow Azure without losing the heart and soul of who we are and without compromising our foundation. And so we've really stuck to that as our North Star, and that's what guides us. So our mission we hold tightly to is just really helping people access healthier, more trustworthy products while supporting independent businesses, healthy communities, and family-owned ventures along the way.
Congratulations on 40 years. That's quite an
Thank
achievement.
you.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Karen, I resonate with the mission as a licensed nutritionist. I love to hear that is kind of a you know at the forefront of everything that you do is providing access to better quality products. But that space does come with a lot of maybe buzzwords. Used in marketing. So I was curious if you could dive into what um, the terms like clean, transparent product sourcing. What does that mean to Azure?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you asking that question because it is can get convoluted and there's a lot of labels out there. And I think, and I say this a lot around here, but um, through the years, marketing has kind of muddied the waters, right? So for Azure, clean is not simply a marketing word for us. It means we pay very close attention to ingredients, to sourcing. We're looking at product standards very, very deeply. And we modify our product standards as we learn new things. We learned something very interesting this week about an ingredient that we always thought was what we considered a clean ingredient xanthan gum, and we've always thought that was super clean. And then we've learned more of where it derives from just recently ourselves. And we're like, maybe that's not as clean as we think it is. And so we are always looking for whether a product reflects the kind of quality our customers are looking for, but also what we stand for as an organization. So, for example, you being a nutritionist, I'm sure that I'm seeing supplements on the market. There's so many supplements out there. And when we began carrying supplements, it was very hard to find really clean supplements. It always had some type of excipient in them, and so we made it a mission a few years ago to come out with our own line of supplements that are clean ourselves, and what that standard means to us, like excipient free and non-GMO ingredients and things like that, and actually moving them toward as much organic in the supplements, which is hard to find, or there's very few of them in the market. So that's an example of like how important that is to us and how we look at what clean really is in the market. So transparency means people should really be able to understand what they're buying. And we are so happy, and I'm sure you are too, to see that customers are asking more questions today, and rightly so. Like, what's in my food? They want to know the ingredients that are in the product, what additives might be present, how something was sourced, or whether a product even aligns with their values. So we don't think that customers should have to have a chemistry degree to understand a food label or a household product. They really deserve options that are made with ingredients they can recognize and trust. So, that doesn't mean every product is identical or that every customer has the same priorities. It just means we're very intentional about offering products to support healthier choices, and we make sure that when we are disclosing information, that customers can understand what they're reading. Like, I'll give an example. There's a lot of confusion in the market around whether something is non-GMO, and we get customers who call and they'll say, well, it's organic, but is it non-GMO? Well, organic is always non-GMO, but because we started putting non-GMO on the organic label as kind of a part of the marketing of a product, we've now created label confusion in the marketplace, because if a consumer doesn't see non-GMO with the organic label, they don't always understand that it's non-GMO. If it's organic certified, it is non-GMO. They don't understand that because we created our own problem with confusing the labels. So our goal is to make sure things are as clear and transparent as possible, when customers are looking at products, so that they can know that what they're looking for, and that if they have questions about what's in the product, that it is there for them. There's nothing hidden. So that answers the question.
For sure. And I love the path you're going down. It's like to hear what the consumers are actually, how they're reacting to what they're seeing, the questions that they're asking. I'd love to dive a little bit more into the consumer mindset where we are now in terms of product categories that are trending with consumers, and some of the products that you offer that retailers might want to be aware of so they can help fill those needs for consumers.
Oh, absolutely. So we carry traditional lines. So we have our own brands, and then and we've leaned more and more to bringing more of our own private label brands to the market. We carry traditional vendors as well. So you'll see lines that you'll be familiar with in the market, like Pacific Foods and brands like that. But we've really developed a strong portfolio of our own brands. And we've done that for several reasons. One, we can control the ingredients, we can control the price, and we have our own in-house marketing team. We don't outsource, so we can control the branding, and it helps us control the supply chain a little more, like have more control over that. And so it also gives retailers opportunities to offer differentiated clean label products that have really meaningful value behind them. We take very seriously what we vet and put under our own private labels. So, for example, Azure Market Organics is one of our key brands, one of our legacy lines, and it includes a very wide range of things like organic pantry staples, grains, beans, baking ingredients, oil, snacks, and really other household essentials. Like we have our own line of cleaning supplies that we worked with a retired attorney from the EAP to develop, because we just felt like years ago there wasn't anything really truly clean that worked on the market. So we just went on our own kind of adventure to figure that out so that we could provide not only a clean product, but something that was truly the best in class, right? And so that's what we look for. Like, is it not only is it clean, but is it a really high quality product? Can we do it in a way that it's accessible and affordable and give retailers a unique product on their shelves that differentiates them? Because we work with independent and family-owned retailers, rural grocery stores. That's where our heart is. We don't tend to serve the big corporate stores. That's not where we have our focus. We're independent and family owned ourselves. So we want to support the independent and family owned retailers and food service companies, restaurants, things like that. So we like to have products that give those retailers something that lets them compete in the marketplace against the really large retailers. And it's unique to them. So you won't find it on the large retailer shelf. You'll only find it in the independent stores. Uh, so it gives them access to products also that are familiar enough to create trust with shoppers and a distinction to stand out on the shelf. So our Azure Market Organics, we have what we call buying club customers as well who buy direct from us. They form like these little food co-op, food co-ops in their communities, and but when they find out that a store locally is carrying our products, they are so loyal to the brand, they flock into the store and get really excited that the local, mom and pop or independent or rural store is carrying Azure lines. We also have non-GMO, non-organic products that we carry as well for what we call stepping stone products for um, customers who are starting their journey into healthy living. So they're better quality, clean products, but they're not certified organic. But we make sure they're not treated with like pesticides, herbicides, things like that, and that they don't have glyphosate treatment with them as well. But we always encourage people on organic over non-organic. We have our Azure Well brand that I think would be very important from a nutritionist standpoint. As I mentioned, it offers high quality, everyday wellness oriented products such as supplements, herbs, things like that. Support people who are being more intentional about their health. We have Azure Canning, which is canning jars. We came out with our own line. They have Mount Hood on them, which is right here in our backyard in Oregon that we wake up to every day. We did that as a response after COVID, actually, where we used to be a distributor for a couple other major canning jar lines. I won't mention their name, but the distribution was taken and given to the larger distributors. And so we thought, well, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and come out with our own line and we'll make them the way we want them. And so we made them like the jars of old, like our grandmas used, and they're very, very thick mason jars, high quality. We use them in our own production for our own line. So if you order a peanut butter, Azure Market peanut butter from us, you're going to get it in one of our wonderful canning jars, and then you can reuse it for canning yourself. So we just come up with these ideas for sustainability so it's something people can reuse. They don't have to throw away. And then we have a lot of other lines too. Sweet Creek, which is line that has salsas and pasta sauce and things like that, jams and jellies. And then we have our Missy J's carob line and a bunch of other things. I could go on, and I don't want to bore you with all the different things that we carry. But for retailers, really, the opportunity is not just about carrying one or two products. It's about creating a thoughtful assortment that gives customers a reason to keep returning and discover something new and really feel like the store understands what matters to them. So we're
Yeah,
there to support the retailers in that.
Love it.
and that was such a fantastic overview. I'm wondering if you could maybe dive deeper into the consumer aspect of of what you're kind of building towards. As you were saying, there's a more knowledgeable, a more informed customer. So what do you see in terms of the changes, what you anticipate, and maybe the journey that Azure has taken to try and meet these new demands that shoppers are really looking for.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Absolutely happy to tackle that. Well, first of all, I would say that we've been doing this from the very beginning. So we're excited about what's happening in the marketplace and the consumer mindset shifting to really caring more and more about what's in their food. And we're seeing a lot of younger generations making that shift as well, which is really exciting to us. We like to say that we've been doing this for almost 40 years, and we've been at the party waiting for everybody else to show up. So we keep saying, welcome to the party. We've been here and we're ready for you, and we've been waiting. Um, because we've had this belief from the very beginning, and we've been working with consumers who were already in that mindset, but seeing the shift and seeing how awakened people are becoming to what's in their food, and in not just food, but just in the products they use every day: toothpaste, cleaning supplies, shampoo, HABA products, things like that. It's really exciting to see that. And the marketplace is full of choices, right? So many natural choices out there that I know the consumers are, again, having this confusion or a lot of questions around, like, how do I know? How do I know what the right products are? What is good for me? How do I know if something's clean? And of course, you can Google anything or hit AI these days, and you're going to get a lot of different ideas around that. So we think it's really a good thing that consumers are awakening to the the food and the ingredients that are in their products that they're using. I'd say what we do to help on that journey is to educate. So yes, we're a distributor, but we are so much more than that. We started as an organic farm over, I would say it's getting close to 70 years now, that our CEO, his family, they're farmers. We still have a farm. We have 5,000 acres of organic farm. We have some farmland that's being transitioned right now out of conventional into organic. We do that. We'll buy farmland and transition it to organic. And so we're really committed and looking at how can we help the health of the nation. So one of my favorite uh, quotes of our CEO, David Stelzer, is that as a farmer, he likes to say that the farmer is the guardian of the health of the nation. And that has been his belief from the very beginning. And because of that, that's what drives us in supporting um, the market and what consumers are looking for. So as consumers are awakening to what's in their food, what's in their household goods, and the products that they use, we've been here all along to support that. Now our goal is to educate. How do we help you make the right decisions? How do we meet your needs where you are? Because everybody's at a different place in the journey. And so if somebody's just starting out, they may not be ready for a full changeover to organic in their kitchen or um, in their laundry room or in what they're using in their bathroom products. And so we're helping them make one decision at a time. What are the core items that you already are consuming on a regular basis, and how can we help you make the right decisions for the products that are healthy for you in those areas, and then little by little help you transition your home to a clean living home where you can feel good about what you're eating and you can live healthy and abundant lifestyle. So we say we want to help people live a healthy and abundant lifestyle. Well, healthy and abundant looks different for everyone. So how can we help you on your health journey to make the right decisions for you and your family, whether it is that you have allergies, and so there's certain things that you can eat or not eat. Maybe you're vegan, uh, maybe you're vegetarian. So it's helping each person where they are in their journey um, to make the right choices for them. And I think our family owned approach really also helps make that difference. We think in terms of relationships, like I mentioned, longevity. So when we're looking even with retailers and how we can support them and supporting their consumer, it's the same thing. What are your consumers looking for? We care about whether that retailer has that meaningful assortment so that they can meet the expectations of their customers and meet them where they are along their journey as well. And then helping those buyers also reframe their mindset in what that looks like and what the consumer needs, so that they're not just looking for, we're not just looking for what's the next hot selling product, but what's the next product that's actually going to help a customer meet their goals and help them achieve what they're looking for in their own homes and what they're consuming in their own lifestyles. Does that, I hope I didn't trail off on something, but does that answer your question? I can trail very easily. I'm sorry for that.
That was an excellent path. So much great information. And I want to kind of circle back to one point that you made about what you saw in the retail landscape post-COVID, or during COVID, really at the height of COVID, because we have our retailer survey every year, and we give the retailers, in addition, to all the survey data, we have a section that's just like sound off, tell us what is on your mind. And that was such a huge issue with the independents, the mom and pop shops not getting the products and the resources just going to the big chains, and these retailers kind of being left behind by some brands. And that comes up in the survey less, but still comes up where relationships are still fractured, where those, kind of those brands are gone. They either won't use them because what happened then, or still don't have access, and problems like that. So I wanted to kind of just retouch on that, because you're offering such a perfect solution there. And maybe you could touch on some of the ways, for the independents, best practices or advice or tips on how they can use your products and your services to help differentiate their shelves and really strengthen their connection with these health conscious consumers, as you said, no matter where they are on the journey to their healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely. I'm happy to answer that. I mentioned we do so many things. We're still an organic farm. We are a distributor. We manufacture our own products, even here in our little town of Dufur, which is about 614 people. So we understand small town. We understand retailers, especially independents. A lot of independents are in rural communities, serving their rural communities. And so we understand that world. Um, and really, as a distributor, and we hear it in the market, which is, distribution is transactional. We're just moving freight. And we just really don't believe that is to be true. We really believe that we're moving product to the stores, but we really need to have a partnership and really listen to each other and understand. And we got away from that. Distributorships were designed that way from the very beginning, to be a partner with the stores. And I'll tell you a little secret. We are bringing out a handful of distributors, independent and rural distributors, in August, and we're going to sit and have a roundtable and talk about how can we as a distributor better serve you. What are the pain points, the friction points? So kind of to your survey, like what are the friction points that you are facing, and have a representative sampling of from all over the country these stores, so that we can hear truly how we can be a partner with the stores and help them have a unique advantage in their stores and serving their communities, and be a true resource. And how can we come alongside those stores and partner with them to help them achieve that mission in their community? Because we know those independent retailers, those rural grocery stores, and not all of them are rural, some are in major cities, but these independents that are trying to serve their communities, are up against some major challenges in the marketplace. And so it becomes how we all need to partner together. And so how do we partner together to really help each other become stronger and support the needs of those communities? So when I say independent retailers have a unique advantage, because they know their communities and they know them well, and they often understand the needs and values and the questions of their customers better than any large national chain ever could. And so Azure can help retailers really create an assortment that feels intentional rather than just generic on the shelf. And that could include things like the clean pantry staples, organic baking products and things like that. But it's not just about what we sell. And so I want to step back from that and say, we offer the products, but we want to look to offer so much more than that. What kind of resources are out there to help retailers who may be struggling in a rural area, or people have customers in their community who maybe don't have access or maybe don't have um, the means to access healthier options for them. So maybe there's programs we can help get connected to and help them connect with that will help provide like fresh fruits and vegetables to seniors in their communities, things like that. Because there are programs like that that exist. And we've learned that by partnering with some of the extensions of universities. We've learned some of these ag extension offices have these types of amazing programs for rural and independent retailers. Um, and so we're looking at things like that. Like, not only can we help them differentiate on shelf, but how do we help them meet the needs of their community directly? So it's not just to fill a shelf space, but to really truly help that retailer become a true resource to their community and be endeared to their community because they really genuinely care and they want to do things that are going to support not just revenue in the store so the store can stay sustainable, but they need to stay sustainable to their community because the community doesn't have anything else. We own the little local store here in our town of 614 people. This community needs a store to be able to access products that are good for them. The closest other store is 20 minutes away. What happens when they can't get to town or they have a mobility issue? So we understand those unique situations of the independent and rural retailers, and we want to be there to support them so they can help build loyalty within their store, with their communities, and just build a strong partnership and relationship with their community. And however we can support that, that makes sense for us to do so, we want to be that support to them. And that's why it goes back again to relationship and true relationship. That's really what we want to forge with our customers.
Love it. And maybe you could keep diving a little bit deeper, sticking on the retail partners topic. Could you speak a little bit more specifically to wholesale support? What does that look like? And yeah, what does Azure provide in that sense?
Absolutely. Well, I have to say that although we are, as I mentioned, the largest independent family-owned distributor in the nation, we're still small comparatively to everybody else, like the larger ones, right? And so we were really excited. We have 500 and we're just looking at the books, 560, employees and in our whole company, and we're serving nationwide, which is amazing to be able to do that. We're actually getting ready to open up a second distribution center in Ohio at the end of this year. So we're very excited to be able to support the other side of the country even more frequently here soon. And that ties into wholesale, what you're asking about our wholesale support. So we have a small sales team, a wholesale team, but they're very, very dedicated. And we currently are able to really support each of our retailers, and not just retailers, because we do food service as well. So we support restaurants and bakeries and those types of businesses, as well as manufacturers like smaller and mid-sized independent manufacturers looking for ingredients. Partnership comes in that support from the standpoint of, if we're buying in for our private label, let's say half a container load of sugar, well, if we have a manufacturer who needs organic sugar as well for their product, then we can buy a full container load. That helps us reduce our cost to our consumer for our brand, and also supports that manufacturer with an ingredient as well. And a lot of times we even have symbiotic relationships with the manufacturer. So they're making an organic product, they're using our ingredients, and then we're selling their product through our distribution. So it's this kind of like full circle, where we supply the ingredient, we know where the ingredient came from, the product comes back through, and we were able to supply it to the end user. So it's exciting to be able to see that flywheel effect where, everything is connected. But we believe wholesale is really, like I said before, like more than moving cases from one warehouse to another. we want a true partnership with the store. So our sales team works very hard to have one-to-one dedicated support for all of the wholesale accounts that we work with. Everybody has an assigned representative, even though it's just a small team of about 10 salespeople. And then we have a sales support team who answers the phone uh, to support needs like maybe there's an issue with a product and you actually get a live person that answers the phone to help you with that, as opposed to having to put some type of um, complaint request through or disposition request through asking for a claim on something. So we want you to talk to somebody and have direct access to a person who can assist you through that process and know, what your needs are and understand the background of what's happened. So that support really is important to us, again, from that relational side, that you have a human to talk to. If you want to send an email, you can, but that you actually have someone you can go to and ask questions to as well. So for example, we have a subject matter expert for our supplements. So if buyers wanted to understand more and I keep going back to that, but you're a nutritionist, so it's drawing me back just to share, as an example from that standpoint, like to be able to understand better, if the store wants to be able to provide better education to their consumer, then we need to make sure they have the education that they need. So having somebody who's a subject matter expert on our supplement line to be able to answer those questions so that they can provide the right information and resources to the person coming into their store is highly important to us. So that we're not just saying, here's a product, we're moving freight, put it on your shelf, and that's all we do. No, we're going to do so much more than that. We want to support the store buyer, owner, operator, merchandisers, community leaders, advocates, all those people. We want to support them all at once so that they can have a great experience with Azure, feel fully supportive, know that they have somebody who's responsive and collaborative with them. Does that answer that question? I hope I'm not just.
Absolutely.
It does. And I love everything you're saying. I mean, it really showcases the work that you guys are putting in to really build these long-term relationships throughout the supply chain and really, especially with the retailers in a way that's just beautiful. I love everything you're saying. I'm kind of wondering if there are any particular kinds of retailers or certain markets where you see a really strong opportunity for Azure's brands or, the broader wholesale assortment to kind of be a good opportunity for those certain segments?
Absolutely. And before I comment on that, Maggie, I just want to say a successful partnership is one where both sides are growing in a healthy and sustainable way. I think that's really important for us to know, and I think we probably all in this room believe that. Um, there's no one size fits all approach. So uh, when you ask about what retailers or markets where there's a strong opportunity, I'd say it's a wide range of retailers, especially those who are serving customers who care about health or transparency, um, organic options, even value and like ingredient quality. So I'd say independent natural food stores are an obvious fit. But the opportunity really reaches further than that. So we see strong potential with independent grocers, specialty markets, co-ops. We're seeing farm stores. We actually just built a relationship with a 17-store farm store who's picking up what they're calling kind of a homesteader mix that we've helped them develop and put together for people who are, because we see so many people going into the homesteading space these days, or at least wanting to dabble in that with growing their own food, creating their own gardens. And so neighborhood markets, health-focused retailers, wellness stores. We're seeing big nutrition stores starting to, or I say big, that's not really true, larger independent wellness stores reaching out to look at getting better assortments on their shelf of cleaner products. Restaurants, food service businesses, and as I mentioned, like manufacturers, like small and mid-sized, not really, we don't really serve the really large manufacturers, but small and mid-sized manufacturers seeking quality ingredients. So There's also an opportunity in communities where customers are looking for alternatives to processed and conventional options. So where stores are supporting that and seeing that change, which I think is happening in a lot of places. Um, I don't think retailers have to become specialty natural food stores overnight. Sometimes the opportunity begins just creating a strong like pantry section, or introducing a few of the trusted Azure brands that we know our buying club. We kind of have this great beta test market with our buying club customers. So with over 1 million buying club customers, we actually get to see like um, what they're gravitating toward. And so that helps us guide stores who ask us like, hey, what products do you think would be like that consumers are looking for and would be good to start putting on my shelves. We tap into the best selling products with our buying club members and say, well, we're seeing a lot of gravitation from consumers in all 50 states from our buying club side moving toward these products. So these look like some of the items that you may want to put on your shelf. So we can help guide them from kind of that market insight we have from our buying club side, which is really exciting for us because it gives us insight into the direct consumer to provide that for the retailer so that they have that insight. Because the Azure consumer is your typical organic, non-GMO, natural shopper. And so we can help them understand like how to start entering that space if they're not in that space already, or if they are, like what we're seeing consumers start to really ask for and gravitate toward because our customers ask us all the time, can you do this? Can you bring this? We're looking for this particular thing. And so like C-stores in the convenience store space, they've been moving into more of the healthier for you options for quite a few years now, but being able to help support them as they're developing more of that product mix out. We're having more C-stores come to us and say, what should we provide to our consumers that are coming in and looking for healthier options? Because they've not historically been known for having that in the store. Um, so we help introduce a few trusted brands that we know will help like expanding those organic options, building a category around consumer demand. But the key is just understanding what the local consumer is asking for and create an assortment that is authentic to that community because it's going to be different for each community as well. Not, what it looks like here in Dufur for our community is different than what it may look like in Homer, Alaska, or in I don't know, in downtown New York somewhere, in the Bronx. It's going to look different because that's a different consumer in each of those communities. So it's just helping the stores determine that too. But that goes back to that's what our wholesale team is there to support. So let me circle it back to that because I think I just kind of like wandered a little bit, but that is what our wholesale team is there to support, not just sell you a product, but to understand that because that's not what we want. We're not here to sell you a product. We're here to make sure you have the right product. And that's what the team is focused on. And if it's not the right product, we're not going to tell you that it is.
Yeah, but definitely gives a lot of ideas on how a company can get the ball rolling. They're not sure where to begin, identify kind of best practices, the next best step to move in that direction. And the next question I have is, you've spoken about Azure being family owned and that influencing a lot of the different aspects of how the business is run. Um, can you be more specific in how that kind of shapes the interactions and the work you do with the retail partner?
Being family owned really shapes how we think about relationships and decisions and responsibility. So, as I mentioned before, we're not trying to build um, business through transactional interactions alone. We want to build trust. And so if you think about a family, families are all about trust, right? And so we want our retail partners to know that there are real people behind the company that care about their success and we care about their customers and we care about the communities that they are serving. So our values influence everything we do. we have 12 core values. They're on the wall of all of our buildings, but they're not just something that sits on a wall. We want to take them to heart. We want to know them. So we tell our employees when they come in, we want you to learn our core values because everything we do is based on the foundation of those. For example, one of my absolute favorite core values that we have is core value number 3, and that is build relationship and forgive and embrace the moment. Because I will never paint a picture that we are a perfect organization. We are a company run by humans, and anything run by humans is going to have its share of mistakes, and we're fallible. And so we want to know that when we do make a mistake, that we own it, and that becomes where the forgive and embrace the moment comes in. And sometimes it's on our side that we need to forgive and embrace something, ask for somebody to forgive us for a mistake we've made, or it's on the other side of things and we're working with a customer where there's been an error. And so that is truly important to us. Um, Live our passions and dreams is another one of our core values, as well as being having personal transparency and open business practices. So there's just a couple of our core values out of the 12. I won't regale you with all 12, but when we say, our values influence how we do things, it influences how we source, it influences how we serve, how we communicate, how we approach growth. Everything we do, we're looking through at the lens of those values. And if we get off track of our values, we have ever given everyone in our company permission, and even our customers permission to raise their hand and say, hey, I think we've gotten off track on our values. And we look to realign and reset if we have. The easy button is compromise. And we teach our teams this all the time. It's easy to take to hit the easy button, right? And to compromise something and say, oh, well, if we do this, make this one decision, it'll be okay. But it becomes a slippery slope. And so we work really hard to be unapologetically strong in our standards and our values, because we believe healthy growth really should create opportunity for more than one company as well. So our values align with how, like I mentioned, how we communicate, how we approach growth, but that growth should create value for more than just us. It should create value for the people we serve, it should create value for our retailers and our end consumers. So it should support the customers, support the retailers, the suppliers, the employees, and the communities in which we serve. So I go back to that relationship first mindset is especially important in wholesale. Independent retailers are often competing against much larger, as we know, companies with more resources. So they really need partners who understand that success is not only about price and product availability, but it's about service and consistency and trust and the ability to build something really sustainable. And so that's where Azure wants to be different.
It's so clear when you're talking how committed you are to those core values. I mean, it really comes through uh, just the passion and the level of caring. So much appreciated. Before we kind of part ways, I just want to take a moment to look ahead and just touch on what you're most excited about for the future of the company, in terms of retail and wholesale growth, or just anything else you want to touch on before we part ways.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate that. I try not to get emotional. I sometimes tear up when I tell people about who we are and what we do because we truly do believe these things. Like, oh, really? Are you pie in the sky? And this all sounds good, but is it true? And the answer to it is yes. It's so true. And I take that back to the family who started the business and our founder David. He emulates that every day. And so that passion is contagious to the rest of us. And so I'm glad that you see that because we truly do mean it. It's not just something we say. I am really excited about the growing awareness around food and ingredients and wellness and really the role that independent retailers play in their communities. I was at a rural grocery summit in Fargo, North Dakota a couple months ago and just seeing the retailers and hearing what they're talking about um and how excited they are about wanting to serve their community, but also the challenges that they're facing. So I'm excited about what is happening in that space. People are asking better questions. They want to know what's in their food, as we talked about. They want to know that products align with their values. They want access to healthier choices without losing a sense of connection and trust that comes with shopping with businesses that they truly know, that truly know their communities. And so I'm really excited about those things. I'm excited about our warehouse that's opening in Ohio at the end of the year, because that means we're going to get to serve our customers even better on that side of the country. Right now, we only have once a month delivery out on that side of the country, but when our new facility opens up, hopefully end of this year, beginning at either December, January is what we're looking at right now. When that happens, we're going to be able to provide even more support on that side of the country. And as we continue to grow, we are looking to expand and have additional distribution centers in the next 5 years, so that we can really concentrate on supporting the entire country from the standpoint of what we've been doing just here in Oregon for the last 40 years. I think for Azure, what we see happening in the market with consumers really caring about what's in their food now and really seeing that shift happening, it creates a meaningful opportunity for us to support, as I mentioned before, retailers with not just products, but a partnership. So we're excited to continue to grow our wholesale relationships, expand access to our in-house brands that we're continuing to develop more and more and more of. Um, I I'm going to let a cat out of the bag. I probably shouldn't, and I might hear about this later, but that's okay. We're actually developing our own organic clothing line that we're going to bring to market. We're really excited about that. Because again, we believe that there's organic clothing lines out there, but it's really expensive. And so one of our missions is to make organic and non-GMO products affordable for everyday families. And so we want to do that for the stores, so the stores have products that can be affordable for everyday families. And so we're looking at like what's in the market and what can we help bring to market through our private labels that will be more affordable, to give more access to organic and non-GMO. So I tend to wear myself as much organic clothing because our skin is our biggest organ. And so as much as possible, moving all of even my own personal things through the years to organic. And so I would say I'm probably the 90-10 personally rule, like 90% of what I have is eaten and wear is organic, but it's not always easy to get that last 10%. So we're excited to grow those relationships with wholesale so that we can expand these brands and give them unique offerings that differentiate them from their competitors in the market, so they can offer more clean and transparent value or oriented options for their consumers. So I'm excited about that because I'm excited about what we can do for the independent and family owned retailer. And we're only just scratching the surface. There is so much more to come. We're looking to develop partner relationships with the stores. We're going to call it Azure Partner Stores so that we can support them at that higher level. So that is something that I would say I could like want to explode out of my skin because it's exciting to know that we can make a difference in the world. So really, I'd say those are the things that are bringing me a lot of joy lately.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like there is a lot of greatness to come, a lot of great things happening. And keep us informed. We'll keep sharing the news in Whole Foods Magazine, let people know when you have these new offerings available. And like I said, we love what you're bringing to the world. And thank you for joining us and getting us up to speed on it all.
Absolutely. Thank you for just allowing me to share the Azure story. I appreciate it.